Today we're listening to some music by a composer named Joe Hisaishi. I'm excited to hear some things that I haven't heard before and get to know a little bit about the music of this world. So let's check it out. Yes, this is really beautiful. Let's check this out. So in Jazz and on this channel, we talk a lot about 2-5-1s. That's something that we've gone over. It's something that is like one of the most common pieces of language that people understand. Well, this is a good example of something that's actually using kind of like a substitution of a 2-5-1. Instead of starting on the 2, it actually starts on the 4. So it goes from the 4 to the 5 and then 1. So it's kind of doing the same thing as a 2-5. It's just not using the 2. It's using the 4 instead. And that sounds like this. Now, normally, if we were going to play this, we would have started on the 2, because this whole sort of 2-5-1 motion is landing in G minor. So we would start on, if we're calling that the 1, we would have started on the 2, right? And in the key, in a minor key, we often will use this sort of, some people call it half diminished A, like an A half diminished. Some people call it an A minor 7 with a flat 5. I don't care what you want to call it, but that would be a normal 2-5, but we've substituted, instead of using this A half diminished sound, we're using the 4, the minor 4. So the second time around, we're actually going to use a little bit of a different device. Rather than going down and doing this, or however it goes, this 2-5-1 into B flat, we're now going to change it. That's a very simple way to create two, you almost could call them like they're sort of a repeating section, but you're giving a slightly different twist on one of them. So it guides your ear very well, because you're starting with the place that you kind of already know, you're familiar with it so far. Just for a brief moment there, we actually leave that chord progression that we used the first time around. We just substitute a little bit out before rejoining where the first version went. Now we've met back up with how the first section went. So it's almost the same section over again. It's just there's a little part the second time around that's slightly different. And that's a really effective tool that you'll sometimes find in compositions, and especially like a lot in jazz standards, where things will be almost the same, but slightly altered. It's just a device that gives your ear a nice little piece of something to hear without just straight up hearing the same thing twice. Really nice little touch there, I like that. By the way, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet and you enjoyed the content, I would really, really appreciate it. And if you could hit the like button too, that does a ton, more than you would think, to help out with the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff. So let's continue. Really great string writing here. And something that I learned when I took arranging class in college and stuff like that is that strings sometimes function best when you write them pretty simply. And what I mean by that is, when I'm playing the piano, there are a lot of times when I want to fill up a lot of a lot of notes and a lot of alterations and color tones and things like that. And that works really great on the piano in certain registers. I mean, if you're trying to play that same stuff down here, doesn't work, right? But that's an example of the timbre of different ranges and different instruments can sometimes lend themselves to either wanting to be super complex or wanting to be a little bit simpler. Now, when you have a string section, a lot of times it's very effective to write somewhat simple harmonies because they will allow the strings to naturally resonate with all the harmonic overtones, and you'll get a lot of these sort of phantom bell tones that aren't actually in the chord, but because of the way that the strings resonate, they really ring. And if you start compiling a bunch of notes into there, you can sometimes cover that up and not allow the strings to resonate the way that they naturally want to. So this is a really great example of, it's not that the writing is super simple, it's just that there aren't a lot of string harmonies that are condensed and clustered with lots and lots of notes. It's fairly simply widespread in the construction of the chords in the string section, and it moves very, very nicely. Really beautiful string writing. And before we move on to the next one, I just want to talk about the composer. This music was written by Joe Hisaishi, who wrote the music for a dozen Studio Ghibli films. He's very widely renowned. That name, by the way, is actually a stage name, and I'm not gonna make a horrible attempt at butchering his real name, but this is his real name. And fun fact, Hisaishi is actually more or less, the way that I understand it, feel free to correct me, but the Japanese translation of Quincy. And he said that the stage name that he chose to use was inspired by Quincy Jones. And this guy is just one of the most highly regarded film composers in Japan. I mean, he's won the Japanese Academy Award 8 times for Best Music, and out of the top 11 highest grossing films in Japan of all time, he's written the music for 4 of them. So that's quite a track record. Let's check out something else. Oh, that's really nice. Yes, and then there's just a quick turnaround. That's really, really nice. We're in C minor as far as I can tell so far, but it could also be E flat major. It's basically the same key. One is the C minor is the relative minor of E flat major, so they utilize the same key signature. They pretty much sound the same. It's just, are we calling this tune minor or major? So yeah, that's kind of the center. We start really beautifully on this 4 chord, this A flat major 7, drop down, G minor 7, F minor 7, and then this is really nice. It's kind of a turnaround. The sus chord, suspended 4th. And then, rather than, because you kind of, your ear sort of expects to hear this go to and resolve, right? However, instead, we just kind of restart the thing again. It's maybe what you might consider a deceptive cadence. It's something that your ear is being led in a direction, and then we turn and kind of go the other way. And go back up to that A flat major 7. Beautiful motion there. That's so nice. Yeah. Ooh! Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. So this is another situation where my ear was being led in a direction, and we kind of did something different. So the piano played the same. Right? Then we go to this, what you would think is going to a 2-5 leading to the A flat. Now here's what that would sound like. But instead, we kind of just sit on this B flat minor 7. Before climbing back up to the C minor 7. Let's see where it goes from here. Back to the C minor again. Wow. Really, really nice. So I'm going to look at that as sort of a bridge. Because it goes back to the B flat. Back to the C minor again. So we're basically, the whole bridge is going between this B flat minor 7, C minor 7, B flat minor 7, C minor 7, and then there's a B flat dominant chord before going to, but the G is what leads us back into the first section, right? That G is a sus chord. So it just leaves it there before going to the A flat with this beautiful sort of emergence of the percussion comes in with the cymbal crash, and it's just really, really, really beautiful. Wow, that's gorgeous. Let's check out one more. Ooh. Wait a second, hold on. Yeah, this is really nice. In the beginning, it sounded beautiful, very simple. Four, 5, 1, 6. Very, very beautiful. And then it starts getting really interesting. That's beautiful. The whole thing is kind of functioning in the key of D flat major. So that's kind of our home base for all of this. So we're going to start. That's beautiful, right? We have 4, 3. We have this 5-1 sound, right? 5-1, right? That's a 2-5 setup for a new chord, right? So in this case, we're going to this G flat major chord. So if you want to get a really interesting sound in front of a new chord, all you have to do is put a 2-5 in front of that chord. So if it's in G flat, well, our 2 is A flat and our 5 is D flat. So we're just going to go with chords, right? Beautiful, really, really beautiful. That's nice. We have this whole thing that's this bass line that's sort of climbing down in a singular direction. That's a really effective tool that you'll see a lot of times in chord progressions. Writing the chords in such a way that the bass line moves consistently. So I don't really know the melody, but I'm just kind of... Right? So we just have this sequence that guides us back to the 5 chord. Or however it goes. but that's a beautiful chord sequence, and you get this consistent motion with the bass line. It just paints a beautiful picture of where we're going. Oh. Wow. There's some really cool stuff going on. And you know what I like too is there's some things in here that are not necessarily what you would just default to and be like, oh yeah, like that's, you know, that's where I expected that to go. There's some stuff in here that's kind of just like, whoa, okay, we're going there now. But it works so well just because of the way that it's executed. Good voice leading, and nothing is too shocking to your ear while being extremely interesting. This is just beautiful, and I'd love to dive a little deeper into this. Yeah, anyways, I don't think we can fit any more in today's video. I'm just super impressed with Joe Hisaishi as a composer. This music is really, really beautiful, and some of it is very simple and it's executed incredibly well, and then some of it is executed in a way that makes it feel simple, but it's not. That's in some ways even more impressive. I'm really, really enjoying this stuff. I'd love to see your recommendations in the comments down below, and also, yeah, let me know. I'd love to make a video about this track specifically so we can break it down even further. So yeah, if you would like to see that, let me know in the comments below and we will do something about it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and we will see you in the next video. It's